that is where you buy the tickets to go inside of there.
Yeah, I got time to go. Okay, run. Go
Hey, what?
It's about 5 till.
Mom over there. It was a pain in the ass to get tickets. Like, you have no idea how long I waited. Yeah. I said one adult, one senior.
I can't believe I'm a senior citizen.
I know, look at this plant.
I love those.
What kind of plant is that?
I don't know.
We're about to go inside. We might have to go around, I'm not sure.
No, it's okay.
There's the schedule.
Well, see if you can open the door.
There's my mom.
You can come right in if you'd like. Well, welcome to Lanier Mansion's State Historic Site. My name is William Laxton. I'm one of the tour guides, so I'm going to take you through and I'm going to tell you. He's one of the most important figures that ever in Indiana's history. He's born in North Carolina in 1800. He came to Madison when he was a teenager with his parents. He went to law school at president of the local bank. So everything was going great for him until these are the parlors. These are double parlors. These rooms are separated by these pocket doors. These slide into the wall. The current interpretation, everything I'm going to tell you is our current interpretation. That doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. It's what we think is correct. And that changes. So if we learn more information, the story changes. Right now we think they use that side for leisure, their own personal leisure. On this side is where they would have had their visitors come into. This is where they would receive their guests. Over here is where they had their wakes. Over here is where they had their finest furniture on display because they wanted to show off their best stuff to whoever came to visit. The furniture, but it's the correct style, it's the correct quality that would have been in a place like this. And the furniture, it's covered with this stuff. Makes me want to dance. You wouldn't believe some of the songs I hear on these ringtones. I'm not familiar with that one, but I've heard. I see these old guys and they got some rocking out song. And it's the only thing I can hear. It's great. Anyway, this is a sample of the upholstery material. This is what this furniture is covered with. Unfortunately, we can't touch the furniture, but we can touch the sample. So let me pass that around. You can see what it feels like. And while you're feeling that and figuring it out, I want to show you a drawing. This came out of a pattern book. This architect, Francis Costigan, he used a pattern book to help him design this house. And what this shows is a wall. In time, it makes everything more grand and beautiful and symmetrical and balanced. We have these fake doorways in every room on the ground floor. When you get upstairs, no more fake. Probably had a piano. A piano was a status symbol. And the young ladies of that period, they would have been trained how to play as part of the expectations of the class that they were in. Harp over there, it's the oldest thing we have. That harp was old when this house was brand new. It was made in 1790. It was made in Paris. So it was old when this house was brand spanking new. The heating for the house, now we have furnaces. Back then, they used the fireplaces for heat. There are 5 chimneys, there's 10 fireplaces, and they burn coal in here. To help regulate the temperature, there are shutters on all the windows. You close these in the winter, it holds the heat in, blocks the sun in the summer, and helps keep it a little bit cooler. When you open them up, you fold them, then you fold them again, watch what happens to them here. They disappear into the window frame. These shutters are on all the windows in the house. The windows on the south side of the house, that's over there, and the north side, they go all the way down to the floor. You can raise up the bottom sash of the window over there. The bottom sash is the sons of a lady. We don't know who this is. It could be one of his daughters, but we don't know that because there's no documentation associated with portrait. Okay, we're going to go this way.
Oh, you can go. Oh, sorry, I was just looking.
This is the library. The bookcase over there, it is original to the house, so that is Mr. Lanier's bookcase. The books on the top center shelf are Mr. Lanier's, that's his Bible right below. The rest of the books, they're just from the period. During the 1830s and 40s, the state of Indiana built canals all over the state. None of them made any money. Most people here from Indiana, most Ohio, Kentucky,
Hanover. Well, we've never been here.
Hanover, just up the road. Do you know where Eaton, Ohio is? Mm-hmm. That's where James Lanier lived when he was a teenager with his parents. His father was 4 townships, and one of them is Lanier Township. There was a breakfast room and kitchen on the first floor, and on the second floor of the wing was the servants' quarters. Some of the servants lived in the house, a few, but most of the servants that worked here lived in their own houses, and they just came in every day. Okay? Would you rather me tell you about this wallpaper? Yeah, this is the good one, I think. Luxury goods were coming to Madison in the 1840s. Scenic wallpaper was very popular. Most of it came from England or France. This is French, made by a company called Zuber. They made the original back in the 1830s, and they made this too because they're still in business and they still use the original wooden blocks to print this stuff. There's 387 different blocks in the pattern, wooden blocks, and there's 53 colors within it. It's a style called chinoiserie, which is a French word that means Chinese. This is what a French designer thought China looked like. They'd never been there. It was all out of their imagination. You know, I've had a lot of Americans come through this room, and they say, yep, sure looks like China. And I've had a lot of Europeans come through this room, and you know what they say? Yep, looks like China. And guess what? Now I'm starting to get Chinese through here. And you know what they say? Nope, doesn't look like China. So, but I think it has a metal liner in it to keep your wine cool. Okay? We're going to reverse and go through that little door back into the main hallway. Or you can go this way.
We can go this way.
Did you take the graveyard tour up there?
Yes.
Oh, it was awesome. I took it. Was it Jan and Camille gave it? Or somebody?
What did we?
A couple of ladies give it?
I don't know, because it was actually the stories. It was that night. It was for Halloween.
Oh, that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was multiple.
Costigan. And he has other houses here in town. They all have interesting doors. This is one of the interesting doors here. What's special about it is the shape of the thing. It's curved, so it fits into the cylindrical shape of the stairwell. The architect, he was really proud of this house. He signed it. Just like any artist would sign their work, the medallions on the newel posts, they say, F. Costigan, architect and builder, 1844. Now, we are allowed to hang on to the handrail, so when we go up and down these stairs, we're going to be safe, not fall down.
Yeah.
Before you go up, though, if you want to come over here where I'm standing, stand right here, hold on to that thing, keep your balance if you want to, and look straight up, and that would make a good picture, too. And what you see when you look up is that the spiral staircase goes up all 3 flights, then you're looking through the cupola, which is the structure. So it's really strong. I can get like 40 and 50 people on here. Amazing. No problem. If you're ready, just fall in.
Following
And
it.
it's not going to squeak on you.
That's cool.
You can stomp all you want.
There are a lot of stairs.
Yeah, these are really strong. The ceiling Up here is a little bit lower, 12 feet and 3 inches. Not as fancy up here. Didn't need to be so fancy up here because guests didn't see this, usually. This room, it's set up like an office, and that is Mr. Lanier's desk. And he used that throughout his life, so we're lucky to have that. Very lucky. His view out the window is the iron foundry. Whenever you're ready, just follow me this way.
Sorry.
And this, we think, is the room of the 2 teenage daughters that were still at home, Mary and Louisa. They're up there, or Louisa's up there. I found her in the graveyard. We don't know that much about these girls when they were this young, except for 2 letters that we have, written by one of the daughters, to her brother when he was at college, and she told him she was really excited about the upcoming hog slaughter season. She was really looking forward to that. And she told her brother about a couple of murders that had occurred in the town, and she didn't sound surprised by that. So evidently that was something that happened a lot around here. This was one rough river town in that period. But these are the kind of things that a young lady would have. And behind the door we have their version of a bathroom.
Oh.
What do you mean, no?
Beautiful matching set there. These doors are closets. Very unusual to have a closet back there.
Oh, geez.
Most people didn't have any closets. Most people didn't have closets for several more decades. So you have her Hanover.
Yeah.
We've lived here for 20 years. I've never took the tour.
Well, yeah, I think you picked a good day to come. This room, this is the room of the eldest son, Alexander, 30 years old in 1850. He went to Yale. He never had a job. He came back here, but he is not significant to history like his father was. The only thing we have left of the son is his fishing rod case over there. And this son, when he was 16, this is long before this house was built, he took his younger brother John, who was 7, on a carriage along with a servant down to the river to let the horses drink. That's something they did. They got out too far, and the current was swift, swept them all away. The horses, the servant, and the little boy all drowned. And this teenager, Alexander, he was the only one that survived. So they had their share of tragedies too. Now this son, Alexander, he married kind of late in life. Keep in mind, lifespan back then was maybe about 40 or so. He got married when he didn't have enough time left to get married again. He had a pretty good long life. Now this is a sitting room. Lanier's property went all the way down to the river. The city street wasn't there. All he had down there was pasture. His son, Alexander, who lived here after him, and his son is the guy that put in these gardens that you can see. If you come up to the window, you can see him. You can't see him from back here. James Lanier, he's the important guy that lived here. He helped develop the state's first railroad. It went from Madison up to Indianapolis. The railroad station was across the street where that big... This is the master bedchamber, probably shared by Mr. and Mrs. Lanier. He moved in 1844 with James, his first wife Elizabeth, and 4 of their 8 children. They had 8. 3 daughters had already married and left. 1 son had drowned before they got here, so 4 were still in the house. 2 years after they got here, the first wife died from tuberculosis. He remarried. He had 3 more children with the second wife. So altogether, he had 11 children. This is the room of the youngest son, Charles. Charles was 13 years old in 1850. 7 years old when he got here, 13 in 1850. So he's young. He went to New York with his father. This is the son that took over the business, and he was very successful. He was best friends, as an adult, in New York with J.P. Morgan. The portrait above the fireplace, that is Elizabeth. That's the first wife. She's the one that died just 2 years after they moved in. TV. If you're ready, we're going to head on up. So this is the son that, when he was an old man, gave the house to the state.
He's not the son who lived here and got married at age 69.
That is correct.
Wow.
Now, the third floor ceiling is only 6 feet and 4 inches. You must be about 6'4".
Yeah.
Well, you're going to want to know this. The next room is only 6'3". Most people don't care. But 6'4", we think that they use the third floor for storage most of the time. But if they had guests, the younger children might have stayed up here during the visit. So we still use that side for storage. This side is set up as it may have appeared if children were staying up here. These round windows can be extracted for ventilation if it was hot. If it was cold, they could heat it with stoves. You don't need a fancy mantle up here. And the rocking horse is from the period. It has a real horsehair tail on it. Okay, we're going to go
That's
this way.
creepy a little bit.
This one has the same height, I fear.
I like it.
The door on the south wall takes you to the portico's attic. That's more storage space over there. Last thing I wanted to show you. Something that they found about 15 years ago when they restored this room. They took all the wallpaper off. They got it down to the bare plaster and they found this mark over here. They put this little frame around it just to highlight this area. And on the wallpaper on the plaster right there, there's a little handprint of a young child. I'm guessing about 5 or 6 years of age by the side of the hand. And we don't know who this is. Lanier's didn't have any children that age living here. It could have been a child of one of the workers. Maybe during the construction they were up here helping their parent. Who knows? We don't know. But whenever I see it, it just reminds me that real people did live here. But the reason this place is a museum is because of James Lanier. He's the important guy that lived here. He only lived here 7 years, then he moved to New York City. 10 years after he got to New York City, Civil War started. Indiana didn't have any money to pay for that Civil War. So the governor of Indiana, Oliver P. Morton was his name, he went to Lanier. He borrowed $400,000 from Lanier. Lanier's the guy that paid for the Civil War for the state of Indiana. And then, he's not done. 2 years after that, the governor needed more money. He went to Lanier and borrowed $640,000, which was used to pay interest on a debt the state that saved the credit of the state again. So the two loans were well over $1 million. That's what makes Lanier important. So to honor him, the state of Indiana made this house the very first state historic site in 1925. So tours have been going on in this house now for 90 years. Double curved doors here at the top. You may want to take a picture looking over this stack. Don't put that on YouTube, what I just said. I get enough trouble.
That's where we just came out of. And that's Transition. Okay, so I just got home from work. How did you guys like the mansion? Wasn't it so cool? I am so happy we went. Mom, did you like it?
Loved it.
Mom didn't have any trouble on the stairs, which typically she does, because she broke her ankle like a billion years ago, and whoever fixed it like did it wrong. So she has a hard time sometimes, but she didn't have any trouble with those stairs. Going down those stairs, the spiral stairs, going up it was fine, but going down it, like, it was really dizzying because you're just going in a circle. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. This may or may not be the end of the vlog since I looked and it's already like 20 minutes long, and I don't want to keep you guys too long, so anything else I filmed today I'll probably put in tomorrow's video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's vlog. Have a good rest of your day. It's probably evening because it's like 4:30 right now, and I'll probably upload it at 5.
It's fine.
It is 5?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, okay, then it'll probably be 6. Anyway, so yeah, it'll probably be kind of late when you see this, so I hope you have a good night. Or day, I don't know where you work.